This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner and the recommended vacation planner for allears.net. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. To get your free no-obligation quote, visit www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
On today's show, we have Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
What's going on, Matt?
Everything is everything.
It is what it is.
I am what I am, says I.
Okay, Popeye.
Also, Len Testa, co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World, is here. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding. Len, can I have some more conviction in that response?
How's it going, Matt?
That's better. Our listeners demand vigor. Speaking of youthful vigor, we have Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com and All Ears Net. Welcome, Mike.
Well, I guess no vacation would be complete without a little bit of liquid sunshine. But if it don't bother us none, not with a gal like Teddy Barra on hand.
I wouldn't have got it had you not given that hint.
What's the hint?
Oh, it's a Country Bear Jamboree.
Oh.
Teddy Barra.
Bear Jamboree.
On today's show, since it's the Christmas week and we're going to celebrate the holidays by answering your listener questions, because nothing says the holidays like listener questions. So we're going to start with Kendall, who writes, "We're going to Walt Disney World the weekend of Martin Luther King Day in January. I found out today that Splash Mountain will be down for refurb then, and I've heard rumors that Space Mountain could be going down also. What is the latest on Space Mountain? Do you think Disney will wait until the last minute to announce Space Mountain like they did with the Rock and Roller Coaster?"
Well, they're very sensitive these days to things like that, which is why Spaceship Earth had some sneak previews while we were down there for MouseFest. So I think that one of the things we will see with Space Mountain is they will try to be as accurate and as timely as they can in both announcing and telling the guests how long Space Mountain will be closed down. And so my guess is that they'll probably give at least a month, maybe 3 months worth of notice, I think, Matt.
All right. Next question is from William, who writes, "Hello, gentlemen. I've been listening to your show for about 6 months now, and I really enjoy it. Keep up the good work. My wife, 2 daughters, ages 6 and 8, and myself will be going to Walt Disney World soon." Anyway,
Welcome back.
This is the girls' first trip to Walt Disney World. On the first day, we're going to MGM. How crowded will MGM... Oh, man, I really can't answer this question. Sorry. I hope you had a good trip. It was a question about Mouse Fest, so we're just going to move on.
When is Superstar Television going down?
Next email is from Kevin Cross.
2008? Oh.
Yeah.
Kevin writes, "The early years portion of Scopa Towers lays in debris and dust, awaiting need for more rooms at the Walt Disney World Resort before being built. It seems to me that part of the reason why these half-built behemoths lay idle is a flawed concept for Pop Century. As we move into the second decade of the 21st century, I question the wisdom and relevance of hotels dedicated to close to 100-year-old pop culture. Thanks to movies and TV, the 50s have a pretty well-known pop culture awareness, even for people born in the 80s and 90s. But the 20s and 30s, or even the teens, not so much, eh? I would like to hear Dr. Scopa's prescription for Pop Century. What would he do with the land on the other side of Generation Gap Bridge?"
What would I do with the land? I would do exactly what they're planning to do, and that is to build the Legendary Years. I can remember...
Kevin's argument holds no bearing with you?
Well, the first thing is, what about the Grand Floridian? What about Port Orleans? I mean, that talks about times in the past. I think
but they're not really held to the same level of theming that the Legendary Years would be.
It's called Pop Century, and it means it's the century, and so you need to cover 100 years, and you've only covered 50 years, so you need to cover the
Or they could just get Sam Eagle to do the PR for it. It salutes all decades, but mostly the second half.
It should be to the 20th century, but mostly the second half.
But especially one, yes.
I mean, I think in terms of the thing that is going to make or break the Legendary Years isn't going to be the theming. I mean, who among us does not look back at the the First World War, the period 1917 to 1919.
The good old days.
Exactly, and think, you know, with all this dysentery and bloodshed, we should really make a hotel out of this. But I think that the thing that's going to make or break it is the rooms themselves, and the thing that we've heard is that those are going to be all suites.
Yes.
Which I'm willing to look past a certain amount of. I mean, really, what good happened in the 1930s? It's the Great Depression.
A lot of Red Baron posters in your room.
That was 1917. There's the World War I, but okay, but that's all right. You're not a history major. That's fine. I mean, really, what are you going to get in the 30s? The Great Depression? Ooh, there's some good times right there. Yeah, put that up on the.
I'd like the Dust Bowl section, please.
The Dust Bowl section.
You know what the most interesting aspect of the legendary is?
Wait, he's still laughing. The lead's still going.
Yeah, you know, the Great Depression years, with people hanging themselves in the room.
Oh my God!
You know how the golden years has
the people that could be checking you in, going luggage. Huh? In my day, we didn't have luggage. We had burlap sacks, and when we weren't using them luggage, we wore them as clothes. Go ahead.
Okay, you finished?
Go ahead.
Well, you know how the golden years the classic years has stairways that go up through Rubik cubes and 8-tracks and bowling pins. What will the legendary years have for stairways? That's my interest. I'm really curious as to what that will be. Ticker tape, stock tape. Yeah.
There'll be a huge Zeppelin as one of them.
The Hindenburg.
Oh my God! Oh.
You can walk through the flaming wreckage of the Hindenburg.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, the humanity! I know the top half of being
flamed. Oh, that's awful.
They could have a nice Rocketeer theme, though. Speaking of the Hindenburg, but anyway,
you could do there's some Art Deco stuff in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. In the 20s, what do you have speakeasies? What are you going to do in the
bathtub gin? We went up to a bathtub.
Menu item, bathtub gin, a great menu item.
There you go.
It could be like the bar could be a speakeasy.
Yeah, the bartender could have no teeth.
Oh, this practically writes itself. I mean, come on. we could design this. We could start tonight and be done by tomorrow morning, designing this whole thing.
Next email is from Rachel Anthony, who writes, "Hi, Matt, Mike, and Len. Thanks for answering my question earlier this year about ride restrictions while pregnant. I've since had that baby, and I'm in the process of planning our next trip. This will be sometime around the 15th of September of 2008 to celebrate my daughter's 3rd birthday, and I have some questions. First, it will be her first trip to Disney, so I want to make it very special. We'll be in the parks on her actual birthday, and I'd like to maximize her opportunity to have some magic moments. Any hints? I realize she won't remember any of this, but I'm looking for some good photos. Magical moments, character meals.
Yeah, I think character greetings, yeah. And, make sure you have that button that says it's my birthday.
Absolutely.
But for a 3-year-old, I wouldn't go overboard, renting a pavilion or anything for it.
I went with a 3-year-old last year in 06, and we went to a couple different places, and she just had fun meeting characters. That was her thing, meeting characters. Some of the rides she enjoyed, but really the characters are what she enjoyed, and certainly homing in on maybe a movie or two that she enjoys and meeting those characters, because that really, for her, it was Alice, and we met Alice, and she went absolutely nuts. It was great. It was, that put a smile on her face. So, go for characters. Try to play to her what she likes. Secondly,
and don't forget the naps in the pool too. I mean, the pool is going to be.
Oh yeah, the pool is huge.
Yeah. Naps in the pool.
Naps.
Take a nap in the pool.
Yeah, going back to that bar thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, the only thing, the worst idea than that is just sleeping pills with laxatives. I mean, just you're asking for problems.
A little Benadryl popsicle. Night.
Rachel also wants to know any general advice for going to Disney with a toddler. I know some of the things like the necessity to go back to the resort for nap time, and I assume that I should carry lots of snacks. But I'd like my extremely mellow little one to stay that way. We'll be leaving her baby sister with the grandparents so we can work around whatever she needs or wants. I've never gone to the parks with a child before, so I'm a little nervous. We wouldn't even consider taking her at this age if she wasn't so well behaved.
So I think a stroller is definitely the Scope is trying really hard not to comment here. And I believe the comment would be, don't bring her. but go ahead and bring her. Bring a stroller. Make sure you got plenty of sunscreen. And even in February, you want to make sure that you want to watch the amount of sun that she's exposed to.
Yep.
You want to take time for frequent breaks. I would say, before we took Hannah to the park when she was 4.5, one of the things we had the unofficial guide researchers do is figure out when kids started crying when they were in the park. So we actually started counting the number of wailing children we had, we encountered starting around 11 a.m. And it turns out that you first started hearing kids cry somewhere around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. By noon, it was a fairly steady stream, and by 1 o'clock, you couldn't go anywhere in the park and not hear screaming children. So I would advise you to use the morning extra magic hours when kids are relatively fresh. Bail out of the park around 11:30 or 12 o'clock. Take as long a nap as you want, and then head somewhere that has evening extra magic hours or the park that's open later. I definitely wouldn't concentrate on trying to get through attractions or anything like that. Go with the flow and do whatever the 3-year-old wants, and everyone will be happy. So, and I would advise stopping. I would advise stopping for snacks frequently.
Next email is from Marcy Butler, who writes, "Hi all, quick question. In August, I'll be heading to Walt Disney World to celebrate my 30th birthday. Does Walt Disney World recognize this in any way?"
Interesting. I was there in August this year, and they actually had Marcy's 29th birthday parade. I don't know if she was.
You were there for that too?
Yeah. Did you see it? The floats were fantastic.
I was in the studios, and they had the Marcy fireworks special, and it was really nice. I mean, it just blew. Sorcery in the Sky was nice, but man, this is a great annual show.
Yeah.
Just really great.
Yeah, it's interesting. They had the big Marcy head pop out of the Illuminations globe during Illuminations.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Peace on Earth thing better, but in general,
there's something to be said. A little Marcy goes a long way.
A little Marcy goes a long way. Seriously.
Just get a birthday button.
I think the birthday button is thing. I mean, but definitely, in all seriousness, don't be shy in saying when you're making those dining reservations, when you're making the hotel reservations, when you're in line for character greetings, say, hey, it's my birthday and I've always wanted to do this, and Disney can usually do something for you there.
Yeah, always mention it's your birthday.
Definitely let everyone know. In fact, we've seen people with T-shirts that say it's my birthday.
It goes. They pick up on it. The cast members pick up on that kind of stuff, and a button is nice. But if you can really go out of your way and get one of those little handmade shirts, it's great.
Just do it in Cafe Press and put the WDW Today logo on the back.
There you go, even better. Next email is from Justin Hooper of Plymouth, Massachusetts, who writes, "Hey guys, first I want to say you guys are doing great work here. Keep it up. Here's my question. Next year, my dad is giving us his timeshare week at the Sheraton Vistana Resort, and we've discovered that we can transfer to some of the Disney Vacation Club resorts. So, what I'd like to know is if we stay at a Vacation Club resort, are we eligible to use extra magic hours?"
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, as long as you're on property, yeah. I wonder which one you would stay at.
Good. Well, I'm going to take a wild guess here and say that it'll probably be easier to get into in a resort like Old Key West or Saratoga Springs as opposed to Animal Kingdom Lodge or, Boardwalk.
I didn't have any trouble booking the Animal Kingdom Lodge. It was 5th floor, but
I mean, if you're transferring, I mean, in terms of the points.
Oh yeah, in terms of points, yeah. I think isn't Boardwalk one of the less expensive?
Boardwalk?
It could be. Maybe I could be totally wrong.
Boardwalk is the most. I'm just saying, in terms of popularity, it's gonna be harder to get that one. You know what I mean?
I was thinking in terms of points. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Next email is from John McGee of New York City. All right, hey guys, love the show. You guys are great. Love the banter between you all. Here's my problem. I'll be at Walt Disney World soon with my wife and our grandson, firstborn, and first time without his parents. We want to avoid the big crowds. We'll be hitting all the parks and staying at Scopa Towers. What would you recommend? As you can understand, we want to spend as much time with our grandson and not fighting the crowds. So if they want to go with someone's bringing their grandson and doesn't want to fight the crowds, I'd say you have to go with the touringplans.com crowd calendar.
How old is the grandson?
Where's the ding on that one? There we go.
Ding.
How old is the grandson, Matt?
I'm trying to see did he write that? Firstborn. Does not say, so he could be. Maybe he's 42.
42. He's probably.
No, it's grandson. I'm out.
Yeah, really. He's probably in grade school. Let's assume he's in grade school.
But I think Len, the recommendations you gave before to one of our earlier listeners about bringing kids, I think it still holds up right there.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's you want to make sure you get those naps in, and you can always come back later in the day. And if you feel like you're not getting your enough time in the parks, use the evening extra magic hours. They're not great, but it's still a lot of fun. And a lot of the time, the kids don't necessarily want to go on rides so much as they want to hang out with you and see the things in the parks. I'm telling you, one of the most fun things that Hannah and I did during this last trip was walk backwards around Epcot after it had closed, and we went through all of the pavilions, even though they were dark, and I pointed out things to her, and that was a lot of fun.
Cool. Next email's from Ron from Houston, Texas, who writes, "Hi guys, I enjoyed the Mystery Science Theater 3000 review of Melvin Vision 3D. However, I think you guys left out one of the best parts of the show, the pre-show. This has to be one of the best entertaining pre-shows on property. Oh well, maybe some other time, right?
Yeah,
we could do a whole Mystery Science Theater 3000 on just the pre-show.
If we did the pre-show and the actual main show, it would have been like a 45-minute show. So
yeah,
we should do a couple of pre-shows though, as for one MST3K episode.
I've invented these lean rails. I've invented them for you to lean on. Please do not sit on lean rails.
They're for leaning.
Last show of the day is from Mikey, the errand boy, who writes, "Hey guys, love the show. Yada yada yada."
Last show of the day.
Last show of the day.
I just wanted to comment on something. I heard on your Mystery Science Theater 3000 show about Muppet Vision, someone said they didn't understand why Sweetums tossed a bucket of water. Well, it's because Waldo the firecracker misfired and landed in the Penguin Orchestra, causing a small blaze. And Sweetums told the penguins to duck when the Swedish chef was firing a gun at them. So Waldo literally turned into a duck. Hopefully, you'll read this email before the attraction imminent refurb demolishment, and you'll be able to see these details. Keep up the great work. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you very much, Aaron Boy.
That's awesome.
If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio. This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner and the recommended vacation planner for allears.net. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. To get your free no-obligation quote, visit www.mousefantravel.com.